Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining to this edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. On this platform, we are never tired of learning. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, the topic we'll be looking at is public speaking for HR professionals. And the facilitator for tonight is irregular. If my memory serves me right, we will have spoken at least on this platform 4 or 5 times, if not more. And we are always excited to have him back anytime his tight schedule can allow him. And we also appreciate the sacrifice he makes each time he's speaking with us. He is no other person than Dr. Olufemi Mosaku Johnson. However, for the benefit of some people who may not be well acquainted with him, I would like to read his profile. Even from his profile, you can learn 1 or 2 things. Dr. Olufemi Mosaku Johnson is a major corporate governance, leadership, and innovative business expert in Nigeria. He's the founding registrar and CEO, Association of Corporate Governance Professionals of Nigeria. He's the chairman, Hero Advisory and Governance Services. He's an expert reviewer of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. He's a graduate of public administration and has a master's in personnel psychology. In addition to this, he earned his PhD in organizational leadership with specialization in corporate governance from Northwestern University, Florida, USA. He's a chartered secretary and administrator, a chartered management practitioner, a chartered personnel management practitioner. His work experience culminating in successful tenure of 10 years in Law Union and Rock as an underwriter, 8 years in Lagos State Public Service Staff Development Center as a state counseling psychologist and senior lecturer in leadership and public service management. He worked for 5 years at the Nigerian Institute of Management, heading the Management and Operations Training Unit, where he also was the best staff of the year for the period he worked there. He subsequently moved to Institute of Directors, IOD Nigeria, where he pioneered and led the Directors Development Department with AAA rated directors learning in Nigeria and the United Kingdom. He is a member of the Board of Trustees and Secretary of the International Aeronautics College. He is also Chairman of Laba Foods Nigeria Limited. Is a secretary to the board, Medical Ethics and Governance Initiatives, is a board member for Foundation for Value Transformation. Furthermore, Dr. Mosaku Johnson, is a technical consultant to Lagos State Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as examiner at the Chartered Institute of Bankers, Nigeria, and Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administration. He is an IFC certified corporate governance board leadership trainer, South Africa, and Center for Management Development accredited trainer. He is a certified sustainable leadership expert with the University of Mauritius. He is an alumnus of the Lagos Business School. He has published 11 books around leadership, management, entrepreneurship, and innovation. He has trained countless numbers of people from all sectors of the economy across this value chain. Also, importantly, he is from the Paramount Ruling House in Aguda, Ogba, Lagos State, and happily married with children. Ladies and gentlemen, highly esteemed colleagues, it is our privilege and pleasure to have with us, speaking to us on public speaking for HR professional, Dr. Femi Mosaku Johnson. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with my colleague again today. To me, this is very, very important. This is very, very critical. Very, very important for us to note that HR people basically are public people. And there is the need to basically have that connection, bring that connection to bear. It is very, very important. There's no way we'll be HR professional without basically meeting people, talking to people, relating with people, communicating with people, and also our public. So this is very, very important. So that's the connection that we want to basically tie today. We want to conduct marriage ceremony between HR professional and public speaking. That's what we are trying to do this night. And I believe that all of us will have one or two things to take home after this session. All right, so let's move forward. First of all, what are we going to be working on? What skills are required for public speaking for HR professionals? And the following 3 skills are required for effective public speaking. Those are some of the things we are going to be working on: planning and preparation of public presentation for HR professionals, the positive non-verbal communications, then confidence to speak. This confidence is very, very important. I've been in places where people lose their confidence in the process of delivering messages, addresses, and addressing the public. I remember sometimes a long time ago, I was at the Federal University of Technology, Minna, Niger State. The registrar, a female of the institution, was to address the gathering during the convocation ceremony. MKO Abiola was present. IBB Babangida was present on that day, and I mean, a lot of dignitaries in Nigeria were present on that day. And the lady took the paper she was to read, and she was saying that time is against me. She has not said anything. She said time is against, and she was shivering, and the paper was shaking in her hand. And it's like the ground should just open for her to go in and so on. Quickly, Professor Ndagi, Jonathan Ndagi, the Vice Chancellor, quickly came up to the podium and took the paper from her and asked her to go and to sit down, and she took it by herself and so on. So it was a very, very terrible situation on that day. As a matter of fact, her voice was lost. Her voice got disappeared. I saw another case also where somebody's voice was lost. Somebody's voice was disappeared. When I saw the man later, about a month after, he said he hasn't come out of his house for that 1 month because he's feeling so ashamed of himself, because he was trying to make a presentation and the voice disappeared and so on, because of a jittery fear and so on. These are some of the issues we are going to address. So in this session also, we are going to be looking at the importance of planning and preparation for effective public speaking, the importance of non-verbal communication for effective public speaking. So these are some of the issues we are going to be dealing with this evening. So first of all, as human resources, what is the component of our work? What does it entail itself? The process of planning, organizing, directing, motivating, controlling the procurement, development, compensation, integration, maintenance, separation of organizational resources to the end that organizing individual and societal needs are satisfied. This is the whole issue about human resource management. So it also includes activities to attract, to retain employees, to ensure they perform at high level in meeting the goal of the organization. And that's if the organization itself sets a goal and so on. I discovered that this goal thing, we have taken it for granted in a number of places. GOAL. If organizations do not set goal, we are talking about GOAT, and that's what we see in so many places. There's no goal that is set. Some nations, as it were, developing nation, we discover that there's no goal that is set, and of course it is hit or miss situation. So but human resources will ensure that goals are set and people, man, material, machine, model, methods, money are used to achieving those goals. And these are the activities of HR: recruitment, selection, training and development, performance appraisal and feedback, pay and benefit, labor relation. You will agree with me that in all these activities, HR personnel, HR practitioners, we have to speak, we have to communicate with the people, internal and external, in this particular situation. So we have a sort of hierarchical procedure for HR and so on. What are the things that they basically work on in a typical organization? You have HR director, assistant director, strategy, operation, system analytics, employment relations also unit is their policies, their engagement, recruitment, strategy, reward, personal and professional development, diversity, pension issue, child care issue in HR department, child care services, children of the members of the staff are being taken care of now. Counseling, psychology. Before, you may not have this in HR department, but there is a need for the unit of counseling psychologists today because of the fact that so many people are going down. Depression, mental health situation is all over the place. I was just being called by the Lagos State government to resume my role as a consultant counseling psychologist for the state. Again, I left the position 15 years ago. I was called upon in the course of this week that I needed to do something about that area as well. So that's unit that is very, very important. You can have it even a small unit in HR department and so on. So this is very, very critical and very, very important. From hire to retire, these are the work, these are the issues that relates to HR people. These are the things that they're supposed to be bothered about: recruitment, selection, induction, career progression of staff, succession planning. I'm not trying to look at the issue of HR, but I'm looking at it in relation to public speaking tonight. But some of these factors are very, very critical. Succession planning. How do you ensure that there is availability of staff? If some people are resigning, some people are jeopardizing, some people are retiring, who is going to take over from some of these people? Succession planning is very, very key. I was invited by a government agency to Benin, federal government agency, some years ago. I flew to Benin and I got to the hall to discover that the people I was to train were old people. They were old people, people in the region of 70 years, thereabout, and so on. And I asked the coordinator, I said, why do you ask me to come all the way from Lagos to come and train old people? For what? To do what? She said, those guys are retired people, but they have to bring them back because there was nobody to do their work. Nobody to do their work, so they have to bring them back to do those, on consultancy basis and so on. I told them that it was a very, very terrible aberration. I said, if it were to be in China, they will not collect their pension if they cannot produce 2 people that they have trained in terms of coaching, mentoring, and counseling, who can sign that these guys have actually incubated in me and so on. So, because succession planning is very, very key. And that's what you have in our businesses today. When you have businesses, as soon as the owner dies, the business dies with the owner. And these are some of the issues that we have seen all over the place. Consult, engage with staff, train and develop. These are some of the issues that HR must take a particular attention to: pension issue, personnel and administration issue, coaching, counseling, mentoring issue, diversity, inclusion, well-being, and some of those issues. So HR also as strategic partner is very, very important. It's very, very important. HR as change agents in organization is very, very important. We come to the organization basically to make a change, to bring a change. Change is very, very critical on daily basis. It is easy to join the crowd, but to stand out, to make a change is very, very difficult. And that's the role that HR must play in organization. And they are also administrative experts and the champion of the employee, because they are the face of the staff in organization and so on. So HR professional and issue that relates to public speaking. So let's see some of these issues as we are getting into the nitty-gritty of why we are here tonight. if you're an HR professional, there is no shortage of opportunity for public speaking. You have to get yourself prepared to speak in the public from one point to another point. And the key is knowing when, where, what are you going to talk about. The good news is that for HR professionals, there are myriads of opportunities to get your message in front of the industry audience. You can be called upon at any time to deliver this, and that is your day. That is the time that is very, very critical for you. Why we don't normally think of HR professional with the issue that has to do with public speaking, the fact is that presenting in front of the people is very, very critical. Presenting is very, very, yes, it's very, very critical. It's very, very needed. All right, let me just try to see what yes. Presenting is very, very critical. It requires effort. It requires some sort of preparation. The fact is that presenting in front of a room full of people is already a big part of HR work. It's very, very important. From presenting at a small departmental meetings to delivering training to hundreds at a time, to facilitating orientation, onboarding sessions. You are likely already speaking publicly as an HR expert as part of your daily routine, which is very, very important. And also transitioning all right, transitioning from presenting internally on issues affecting your company to speaking publicly about issues affecting your organization. It's not always easy. But for HR professional, public speaking can pay off big. So it is very, very important that public speaking is very, very close to the hand of every HR professionals and practitioners. I'm going to relate some examples, some basic experience that I've had to also go through or encounter or experience in the course of my career. So what does it entail? Know your stuff. Know your stuff. It is very, very important that you know your stuff. Know your stuff. The first key to successful public speaking involves having the professional expertise necessary to establish professional credibility. So know your stuff, know what you are basically doing. So we've all sat through those sessions. We have some motivational speakers, marketing guru talks about HR in broad brushstrokes. Even their mountains of studies and statistics can't hide the fact that they don't know anything about the actual day-to-day realities of working in. So the most important thing when you are basically addressing the public is to know your stuff, is to know your fact, is to have the idea of what you are talking about. So this is very, very important. And I want you to underline this. If you don't know, you cannot flow. So the most important thing is to know what you really want to talk about. I remember there was a time I was invited to Kaduna. I had to fly to Kaduna immediately because there's this, in Nigeria, there is a regulator for insurance. So the regulatory body invited, they had a program to train their staff in underwriting. They want the regulators also to know about insurance underwriting. They now organized a program in Kaduna, brought in professors that would teach the people. I was talking about know your stuff. They brought in professors and so on. So the professors tried their best, but they could only give what they have on the textbook. Professors have never actually resumed in insurance offices to understand the rudiments of underwriting. They do not know so much about practical underwriting. So in my early career, I think in ICON get to understand that in my early career, I was 11 years as an insurance underwriter So quickly, their HR director called me. I had to fly to Kaduna with available flight. So I got there. Within 30 minutes, some of the participants were saying that this is exactly what we need. I'm talking about if you don't know, you may not be able to flow. So you must understand what you are going to be talking about. And this is, in most cases, what people need. It's practical on the day, everyday reality of that job, not the one in the textbook and so on. So all these are very, very critical, very, very critical for you to know your stuff, know what you are talking about, know what you are basically want to talk about. I think I prefer that if you know that this area that you want to talk about, it's not area that you understand very well, it's better for you to be honest about it. Tell the organizer, tell whoever invites you, let them know that I'm sorry, this is not my area, but because it is good to know before you can flow. So it is very, very important. So, and also the second one here is that you should know your audience. Who are the kind of audience that you want to deal with? Who are the kind of audience? If you know your audience, it will help you to prepare ahead. If your audience is leaders in the industry, the preparation is different from if your audiences are just little experience as a graduate, middle level managers or lower level managers. These are different ball game. If you want to deal with, want to speak with the leaders in the industry, it's a different. So you have to know your audience. If you don't know, you cannot flow. So you must know the kind of audience that you are going to be dealing with. Literally hundreds of different opportunities for speaking to industry audiences, and these are as varied in audience and focus as the HR profession itself. So you are varied of people. You must be able to identify the kind of audience that you are invited to speak with ahead of time. You don't get there and you discover that what you projected actually is not what you see at the hall where you want to make your presentation. So this is very, very important. In fact, it robs off your confidence. We are going to talk about confidence later. It robs off your confidence. It takes away your demeanor. It takes away the kind of what you want to say. In fact, you may even forget your facts and some of those things. So it is very, very important. Then know your presentation. So this is the third one, is very, very important. Know your presentation. Know what you are trying to talk about. Know what you are, master all that you are going to talk about, master the skill, and also practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. It is very, very important that you know that practice makes perfect. But I think I'm going to talk about some of those issues of practice. But something happened. I was at the Nigeria Institute of Management. Two of us were sent to Maiduguri to make a presentation. The man was my senior. So I was booked to follow him to Maiduguri to make a presentation for the leadership of National Youth Service Corps in Nigeria. And the program was done in Maiduguri and so on. So we were in the same hotel. Each time I visit this Charlotte, I discovered that throughout the night, he didn't sleep. You know, there was a mirror. He was reading the presentation to the mirror all the while in the night. If I go by 2 o'clock, I see him still with the mirror, trying to practice what he will do when the day breaks, when we get to the venue of the program. You know, I just followed him as assistant, not as a presenter. He's the one to present, my boss, you know. So he was there throughout the night. He prepared, he speak to the what do you call it, the mirror, and all kinds of things and so on. So eventually, when the day breaks, we dressed up, we moved to the hall, to Sultan Road. So we got to the hotel where the program is to be. It was a national program. So at a point, they now call, all right, that's why I'm thinking that, is it about practice, or is it about building the confidence within you? He practiced everything throughout the night. So when the time comes, they now call the representative of the Nigeria Institute of Management should come out to deliver their presentation. Wow. He now told me, hey, he was seated by me. He was so jittery. He said, Femi, I will not be able to do this. I can't do it. I can't, I'm sorry. I can't do it. Please, can you do it? I said, but you prepared throughout the night. He said, no, they are calling us. I had to take the paper from him. Stood up, got to the podium. I didn't even say, oh, this man's supposed to present. And so I said, I represent the Nigerian Institute of Management. I started with stories. And everything. Then I went back to it was fantastic. So when we are now going home, he said, what gave me the confidence that I didn't even prepare anything, but the whole thing was very, very beautiful. I said, this preparation is not today. I prepared myself for many years for all this, because I know a time will come that we have to do this, and so on. So this is very, very critical, very, very important. So attend to a few of these events before asking to speak, and get familiar with the kinds of presentations and speakers that work. So look at the kind of what they're expecting. Look at their expectation, view their expectation, project their expectation. So you have to look at it. And also, for you to get yourself prepared, you need also to attend events. You need also to listen to people. I mean, go to YouTube, listen to people, see the way they make their presentation, and all right, see the industry influencers, how they present, where they present, and some of the ways by which they bring out their authentic styles, distinct style in their presentation. So preparation is not a day before. Preparation is that you will know as HR professional that a day will come that will be called upon. A day will come that major program you will be invited to come and speak. So you must get yourself acquainted with presentation. In fact, you must be viewing it in your heart that you see yourself making a presentation. Build confidence in the going. You can't build confidence on that day. You can't get out and build confidence. And that was the example I gave to you, that it was in my presence. The woman was shivering. She was, the voice just disappeared. She could not find the voice again. I don't know if anybody has experienced that kind of a thing, but the woman cannot just find out. The voice disappeared. Another one happened with the man that I spoke about. The voice disappeared, and so he said that, in fact, he could not go out for 1 month. He said he was just drinking beer. So that he said he has never been, somebody that drinks. He said he has never drunk in his life. But because of that situation, he has to go and be buying beer to drink, to cover his shame and so on. So for you to see that this thing is very, very critical that we are talking about. So public speaking, what does it entail? What do we actually mean when we talk about public speaking? Formal face-to-face communication method, where a person uses the medium of speech to inform, very, very important, to inform and or to influence a group of listeners, the audience. So why is developing public speaking skill very important for everyone? Why is it very important? Because it goes a long way to basically sell your idea, move your idea to the minds of the public. For the last 30 years, all that I've been doing is to speak. If I can buy a pen, if I can buy a jotter, it is from this, the income made from speaking. That is what, for the past 30 years, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing. For all the years at PSSDC, apart from counseling work, I've trained every one that comes to that place from the civil service of Lagos State. Everybody that comes, at least in that place, I must have trained 3 million in that place. Moving to NIM, managers come from all over the country, even from other African countries. This is what I've been doing, because I have to prepare to do it. So it is very, very important. And as an HR, as a personnel psychologist, I understand that my work also, apart from the fact that I needed to speak with people externally, then the people inside, my staff, the meetings and so on, internal and external staff, you have to prepare yourself to speak to them. So being able to inform and influence people through effective communication is essential for anyone to be able to help improve the society. It's a very, very important. In fact, it's a national assignment. When you can speak, when you can influence people through your speech, it is very, 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 very important. So planning and preparation is very, very important. You have to plan. You have to ensure that you prepare very, very well. And like I did say, you don't plan, you don't prepare a day before or the morning of the presentation. It's something that should be part of you. Planning should be part of you, and so on. So 90% of the public speaking time is spent on planning and preparation. Real presentation itself is just 10%. To present is just 10%. The most important part is planning and preparation. So before you can start to plan and prepare the message and the structure for your public speaking activity, you need to consider the purpose. Purpose. Speaking without purpose is like a good soup without salt. So there has to be purpose. Purpose is very, very important. Then you must know your audience. You must know your audience. You cannot be speaking over or ahead of people. You must understand if they are nursery school students, they are different from university students. If you are industry leader, they are different from entry-level officers and so on. So you must know your audience. You must be conversant with who your audience are. In fact, the first thing you should ask when somebody asks you to speak in any garden is, who are those audience? Who are they? What do they know? What have they learned in the past? What is their experience in life? So this is very, very important. And the timing is very, very important so that you not waste the time of the people. It's better to make your speech in brief. Brevity is very, very key in public speaking. When you speak, intelligently, you speak convincingly for 20 minutes. It's better than to waste people time for 2 hours without actually gaining anything from what you are saying. So it's very, very important. It's very, very important. So planning and preparation, public speaking can only inform and influence your audience if it is delivered in a structured way. So it has to be delivered in a structured way. When you are making a presentation and the presentation does not have structure, it does not have a strata, it does not have a stand, then everything will get molded together. So the best way to ensure that a public speaking activity is structured is to plan and to prepare your notes. It's very, very important to prepare your notes. Essentially, those things that you need to remember. In fact, some people, they don't basically prepare, what do you call it? They don't get themselves bothered about writing speeches and everything. What they just need is just point, and so on. I've seen somebody is going to make a presentation. He just use his own bare hand and he just put the point in his hand. And when he gets there, you just see his hand shaking like this. It's just, once he pick one point, he will speak about it for 10-20 minutes and so on. So it depends on your style. It depends on what actually what works for you. So your notes should be headings and keywords, bullet point format. So it is very, very important. When you have bullet point format, it will remind you of all that you are going to talk about. It will remind you of everything you are going to talk about. And of course, we have seen the former vice president of Nigeria. All that he needs to do is just to cram. I must say, to cram is very easy for him. It's very, very easy for him. He will just cram the bullet points and he will be picking them one by one from his head. Of course, he's a professor. So he brings it out. He can speak for 2 hours and so on. So he brings it out from there and so on. So it's very, very important. Planning is very, very important. Then also there is non-verbal communication part of our speaking. Non-verbal communication. When we stand to speak anywhere, 70% of the time, we speak with our body language. We speak with our gesture. We speak with the way we move around. We speak with the way we project ourselves. So public speaking is not just about what you say, it's about how you say it. It's very, very important. So when undertaking any public speaking activities, you need to be mindful of your posture and body movement. In fact, you have to ensure that your body movement does not change or does not distract the audience. So it is very, very important when you are moving to one part all the time, you are moving your hand in one way, your gesture has to be looked into, your facial movement has to be looked into, and also your voice pitch and tone, intonation matters. When you are shouting, again, it's another issue that has to be looked into. Or you are speaking so low to such an extent that even with microphone, people don't hear what you are saying. So you have to be mindful of the fact that you don't need to shout and you don't need to basically go so low for people not to hear what you are saying. So it is very, very critical. So non-verbal communication, these are non-verbal communication. You have positive example and you have negative examples. So when you are speaking the public, let's look at the positive example. Head looking up is positive. A smile is very, very important. When you are speaking to the public and you frown, I mean, it doesn't basically portray a good image. When you frown, people also, they'll begin to wonder what's going on. Is there any war outside? So you have to look at it. Then a small hand and arm gesture is very, very important. Free your arms, let your arm be free, keeping to one area of the stage. So all these are things that we have to look at. Then eye contact is very, very important also. Some people, when they are making presentation, they don't look at anybody, they just look up. It's either they look up or they look down. No. It's a no. What you do is that you look at the audience in the face. Your eye contact, your eye goes to your audience, watches your audience, watches their behaviors, watching their mannerism, and the way they actually accept what you are bringing out to them. The negative one, when you have head looking down, when you are looking down, when you frown, it's another problem. When you frown, you don't smile, you appear so disjointed and so on. Exaggerated hand and arm gesture, putting your hand flying up and down is not the right way to to address the people in public speaking. Folded arms is another problem. Wandering about the stage, that's a distraction. When you begin to wander all over the place, is a distraction. So you stand in a place with confidence. So confidence is another issue that is very, very critical. When you have confidence, then you stand, you look at the people in the face, and you are able to address them. But when you are frowning, it means that you have something to hide. When you are looking down, it means that you are afraid. When you are looking up, it means that you don't have the confidence. So confidence is very, very important. So why is public speaking important skill to have? So everybody must be able to have that skill. I want to see every HR person having that skill to stand anywhere, even when people are 2 million. You stand and you hold your own and you speak to the people and you make your impact in that particular place. It's very, very important. So, and I think it goes together with HR. When you are HR, you are meeting people internally and externally. So you have to prepare for speaking in the public. So speaking is very, very important, and you must have that skill. It's a great life skill to have, as it is necessary in many different areas. In class projects, you need it. Job internship, presentation, club organization, meetings or events, speech at a family gathering such as wedding, birthday, anniversary, and so on and so forth. And of course, you have industry gathering, meetings of a chapter of your membership bodies, and so on. You can be invited to speak on one issue or the other, especially the one that you have some expertise in. So what does this man say? Senfit says something. Let's look at what he says. Senfit said, let me see. Trying to move this thing up so that, wow. Okay, okay. So Senfit says that was as early as 1990. Says people's number one fear is public speaking. I don't know how I arrived at that, but that's what he said. He said, number one fear is public speaking. Number two is death. Now, that means to the average person that if you have to go to a funeral, you are better off in the casket than doing the eulogy. So this is what this guy said in 1993. So it's the people's number one fear is what? People number one fear is for you to be in, excuse me. Okay, is public speaking. So I wonder how number one fear of the people is public speaking. I don't understand how public speaking now becomes such that people are afraid. People are trying to dodge. People cannot come out and face the public. Why is it number one fear? Please let somebody talk to us. Let's discuss this. Why is public speaking is people's number one fear? So let's have some contribution in this area. Yes, let's have some contribution. Why do we have it so? Yes. Do we have somebody to talk to us about this? Why do we have a situation where number one fear of the people is public speaking? So yes. All right. So Uchenna, yes, let's hear from you. Very well. Go ahead. Please unmute yourself and go ahead. Yes, unmute yourself, please. Yes.
Okay, good evening, Doctor.
Yes.
My own contribution to what
Yes.
you've been saying.
Yes.
For people's number one fear to be public speaking, you've said it that when you do not prepare, you lack knowledge of what to say, and you lack confidence. Definitely is everybody's fear. Who are my audience? Who am I going to be speaking to? Am I going to speak what they want to hear? Am I, communicating? So like you've just taught us this evening, the preparation and planning for public speaking is 90% of the job. So if you've not done that, definitely you're afraid of even speaking. That's my own explanation of what he is trying to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Uche. Thank you, Madam Uche. So let's have Madam Blessing. I saw your hand on. Yes. Okay. Please unmute yourself and go ahead. Yes, you can unmute yourself. Or if there's any other person that has something to add to what she said. Yes. Shizurum, go ahead, please. Go ahead, please. Unmute yourself and go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead. Yes, you need to unmute yourself. Yes, speak up.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening, madam.
So I think primarily a lot of people are afraid to be the center of attention, who have not been able to coach themselves to the point where they can face people, have an a lot of people are actually afraid of confrontation. How much more when it's to a general public and they need to address certain people. Some people cannot hold eye contact with you, even in a one-on-one conversation. How much more when they need to do it among several other people. So I think it's that fear of confrontation and interaction that a lot of people have. That is what limits them from public speaking.
Wow. Wow. Even one-on-one confrontation, it's a problem, not to talk of having to address the crowd. But when you have prepared yourself, you have basically emboldened yourself internally, then of course you'll be able to stand anywhere. And so the preparation, like he said, I'm coming to you, Mr. Abbott and Blessing. You see, the preparation we are talking about is very, very germane. it's not something that you start one day. You have to start it ab initio. When you are starting off in life, it has to be with you, telling yourself that, you see, the most important part of this life is that you are going to address people. You are going to influence people. You are going to make people to get to know your ideas and so on. So it must be part of you. So when you start to build yourself in that order, so when the day comes, it will not come to you as a problem. You just see yourself flowing, you just see yourself talking and so on. Even when people are 2 million, you are just on top of your game and you are there. So let's hear from Madam Blessing before we go to Albert. Yes, go ahead, please. Yes.
Good morning, sir. Good evening, sir, rather.
Good evening. Yes, fantastic.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes. Yes.
So I think one of the major reasons why people are afraid of public speaking is because of criticism. Nobody wants to be criticized, you'll be in the eye of the crowd, everybody will be looking at you, all your insecurities are seemingly out there. So even when you are prepared, if you are not used to public speaking and if you don't practice, all those insecurities can just, make you jittery, come to the fore. Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you, sir.
It's very, very important what you say. So because when there is no preparation and all this, or whatnot, you just discover that you just get there, you just like the one I talked about, that the voice just disappeared and so on. So it is very, very important that we start to prepare ourselves and so on. And as a matter of fact, those guys that are actually influencing the society, those guys that have so much to offer are the ones that are actually can speak in the public without any fear, without any letdown, without any losing of their confidence. So it is very, very important. So let's hear from Mr. Albert before we go to Sadiq. Yes. Yes,
hello,
go
good
ahead.
evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, Albert.
So,
Yes.
the last speaker actually took it from my mouth. In addition to what she has said,
Yes.
sometimes you would have prepared. Sometimes you would have
Yes.
over prepared, but on that day of the presentation, you find out that you can't even open your mouth. So I believe is one is fear of being embarrassed. People tend to forget that there's always a first time. You understand? So fear of being embarrassed or rejected. Everybody wants to be accepted. Nobody wants to be rejected. So fear of being embarrassed or rejected.
Yes.
You understand? So that first time,
Yes.
people are not confident enough to even tell themselves, even if I don't succeed at this first time, you're going to help me, because the practice you practice behind us are always behind us. But until you face the crowd, you've not really practiced. Thank you very much.
So people don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be put to shame. So they just, hide inside of their shells and so on, and therefore they refuse to come out. Or they did it once and it was a disaster. And from then, that was the end. No, they don't want to, no. Anything that has to do with public speaking, they say, no, forget about me, just leave me out, and so on. So, Mr. Sadiq, let's hear from you before we go to Prince Omoniwa. Yes, go ahead, please, sir. Yes, you can unmute yourself, Mr. Sadiq. Yes, you can unmute yourself. Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Okay. Mr. Sadiq, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay. For me, I would say number one is stage fright.
Stage fright.
So
yes.
the fear of being alone on the stage and fear of being alone. That is
Stage
enough
fright.
fear for those who don't have the enough confidence to face people alone like that. And then secondly, the
okay, stage fright.
Fear of uncertainty about what the feel in the stage there that knows more than you if you make mistakes.
Okay. Stage fright, and especially when you want to
if you're not doing it properly.
Yes, with the audience that you know that they know better than you. So there's a tendency to be jittery and so on. So all this has to do with training itself. All this has to do with, and the best training is public speaking is self-training. The best training, I think I must, and it cannot be emphasized too emphatically, that the best training in public speaking is self-training, other than the outside of the one that you receive from other places and so on. So Prince, let's hear from you. Thank you, Mr. Sadiq. That was a good one. Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yes.
I'll take it quickly from Matthew 15:11. Sorry, I'm taking to the Bible. This is not a fellowship. The Bible says that it is not what goes into the mouth of a man that defies and honors him, but what comes out of the mouth that defies and dishonors him. So simply, the fear of being judged by what comes out of your mouth. This is my first time talking here. So the fear of, oh, what he said, he sounds like a pastor, perhaps he's a priest or something. So the fear will grip you regardless whom you are in the society. I remember my mentee went for an interview last week. She came back, ranting, and then she ranted and she was like, I want to rant on you. You are my mentor. And what happened? He said, I did excellently well, but I'm still afraid if I did not mention some point. I said, this is how it starts. I said, you have judged yourself. If you have released yourself that you have given 100% of what you wanted to say, definitely you go home relieved. You might not be selected yet because some other persons are better. So what you have said it. And the fear of being judged, even personally inside of you, it comes from inside. So once you can relieve yourself from that, shackle, then definitely you will speak, and then without fear, we keep developing by that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So we keep developing. And we should also be afraid of, be bothered about self-judgment and so on. In fact, we put ourselves down, and incidentally, the audience did not put us down. We felt that we didn't perform well and so on. So it is very, very important. And like all of us have agreed that preparation is very, very important. But as I was saying, it occurred to me that preparation a day before and some of this will not help anybody. Look at the person I told you about. It's a very senior person, a director. But when it comes to presenting, if not that I was there with him, I didn't know what was going to happen. And he said, I'm sorry, I cannot do this, I can't, look at the audience, there are too many, and all kinds of excuses and so on. And immediately I just took the paper from him, and I went out there and started with stories and so on. People were laughing and all kinds of things. Then from there, we hit on our point. So it is very, very important. So where do you rank? Where do you rank in public speaking? So let's rank ourselves. Where do you rank? Your fear of public speaking is low if your score is up to 15 points. So in this case, you have no phobia. Your feelings and motions in front of an audience are normal. Every public speaker has their own beginning, and they can overcome with good words. They can overcome, right? They can overcome with a good night rest and breathing exercise and so on. So that is low. Moderate is when you have your score is up to 45 points and so on. Like you are feeling uncomfortable. Nerves and tensions influence your behavior seriously, but there's a way out and so on. Then the severe fear, the fear of public speaking, the one that has severe one is if your score is more than 45 points, you suffer from phobia, fear of public speaking. You fear from phobia, fear of public speaking. You avoid any situation that might include public speaking. You hate making and giving presentation. It's extremely difficult for you to speak in front of group and so on. And you are aware of the necessity and the possibilities that causes some of this phobia. So is it your own? Is it low? Is it moderate? Or is it severe? Or you don't have it at all? Some people, they don't have that fear at all. When you call them, that is their day. In fact, they can be going on the way and you call them. Of course, it happens to me before. I was just going on the way. I was with my staff. We were going and I was called and they say that The facilitator they are expecting in that place was not connecting. They said they could not even get him on the phone. They said they could not even, he was nowhere to be found. I said, can I quickly stand in for him? I was going to other place, but I just drove into the place and so on. And I just checked my system, and immediately I was on as if I've been informed in the last 1 year. And so it depends on everybody. And so something happened that I'm going to tell us also. Something happened. I was at the Nigerian Institute of Management. I had a program in Abuja. At that time, I was training medical doctors all over Nigeria. I was training them in management, corporate governance, finance, and some of those issues, human resource management, human relations, and so on. So I had one of these programs in Abuja at Top Rank Hotel in Gimbia, in Garki. I was having that program. So I said, let me see the office, Abuja office of NIM. Let me greet my colleagues in that office. Let me just have some interactions with them before I move to the venue for my program and so on, because my program is a day after. So I said, let me branch and see my colleagues. I branched at NIM office. As I entered into the training environment, I started to hear sound of a noise. I said, what's going on here? I asked them, what's the problem? They said, this facilitator is not the kind of somebody that wants our money. We don't want somebody like this. They sent her away. They sent the facilitator away. They said, no, we don't want. We know better than her. We asked her questions. She cannot even answer the question. How can we sit down and this kind of a person will be teaching us? She does not know anything. This, that, and that. They sent her away. I said, okay, what is the topic? They now gave me the topic. I just opened my system. I just bring the same topic. I just put it, and I put it on the slide and so on. I say, is this the topic? They say, yeah, this is the topic. And we started with practicals of that topic and so on. After 15 minutes, somebody said that if they know that you are here, why do they bring the woman to come and waste our time and so on? I said, no, it's not because they wasted your time. It is because maybe there was no adequate preparation. But they say, you're not prepared. I said, no, I prepared for 20 years. It's not today. So these are some of those issues and so on. So after the Abuja, the director in Abuja, Dr. Oji, came to here, just rushed to me and so on. After the son said, you saved our day, you saved our face. And I said, that is why we are alive, to save faces for one another and so on. So now let's look at it. Do famous people suffer glossophobia? Glossophobia is speaking in the public. Do they ever suffer something like this? Of course, you appoint somebody to be the governor. Is that not so? You appoint somebody to be the minister. You appoint somebody to be the president. Is he a public speaker? Does he not have to speak in the public? You appoint someone to be the chairman of the chapter of this institute, that institute, and so on. Has he been speaking in the public before? So do we have a series of issues like that? So what are the physical symptoms related to stage fright? Somebody talked about stage fright. I think Sadiq talked about stage fright. So what are some of the issues that relates to it? The first one is heart pounding. When you invite in, our speaker for today, to look into this area of industry issue is Mrs. So. The heart begin to pound. The heart begin to pound. Even when he or she is speaking, you see the pounding coming out from what he's talking about. And to be shaking. I've experienced this. This one, I've experienced it. I've experienced this personally myself. When I saw the lady I told you at the Federal University of Tekmina, I saw her hand shaking like this. And the other man also, I saw their shaking. And the paper was like somebody carrying a load of blocks in her hands. And so on. So hands shaking comes up, forehead sweat. Somebody begin to sweat. Yes, I saw this also. I saw somebody that was invited to speak. I saw him clearing sweat all over the place immediately. The mouth goes dry. Those are the symptoms. Mouth goes dry, stomach hurts, just for somebody to come and speak. Can you imagine that this kind of issues will arise just for somebody to come out to speak? Stomach will be hurting the person. Then lightheaded, energy will disappear, oxygen will disappear, and the person will not remember everything that he is supposed to bring out. He will forget everything. Everything will just be blank. It will just be blank. Then shallow breathing, he breathes fast, then later he breathes low, and all kinds of ways that basically are physical symptoms that relates to stage fright. So this, we have to watch out for this. And how do we overcome all this? It's a matter for us to discuss, but there's no time for that discussion. How do we overcome? Basically, it's preparation. The second one is preparation. The third one is preparation, so that you don't have to face all this. When they call you, just go with confidence. In fact, you go with confidence. And the best way for you to gain your confidence is when you get there, start with drama, start with comedy. It goes a long way to freshen the ground, to prepare the ground of the hearts of the people. So mental methods to overcoming stage fright: realize how the audience really feels. How do they feel when you are presenting to them? What is their feeling? How do you gauge
someone who is deaf and dumb? Okay, sir. So the person finds himself in an underprivileged position. He has something to say in his heart. He has thoughts, he has ideas, he has creativity, but he's powerless because he lacks the power to articulate, to speak, and to be heard. And that's why you find out that somebody who is deaf and dumb, they agitate. Why are they agitated? Because they say, I have something to say. I can say something. I want to say something, but I don't know. I find myself disadvantaged by circumstances beyond my control. The same thing happens to somebody who has good ideas, good intentions, good words, want to say something, but is frightened and is afraid and is jittery and is emotionally tense and is psychologically imbalanced, and it could not communicate as it would have wanted. And sometimes when you leave the stage or wherever, you say, no, this is not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say this thing, but I don't know. So as Dr. Femi was telling us, symptoms and circumstances and the impacts, and you see your heart is palpitating, and when your heart palpitates, it affects sensory coordination. Your sensory neuron can't coordinate because the heart is pumping blood faster than necessary, so you're not able to coordinate. Your emotion must respond to your cognitives, and they must be able to respond to your all your 5 organs: your eyes, your ears, your nose, your skin. But because there is a dysfunctionality as a result of fear, depression or tension, you're not able to articulate and align what you have in mind, because your blood is pumping blood faster and your heart is palpitating, and sometimes you even have gibberish. Sometimes you are speaking and your thoughts, your words are not well tensed, well articulated, because you are worried. So how do you deal with these situations? He has also talked about preparation. Many of us, even when I invite a facilitator to come and speak in my training, and I observe that this person is just giving me rubbish. Sorry to use the word rubbish. I look at this slide and say, my friend, I'm sorry. This slide cannot fly. So I could see if the person had just gone to Google to just download and send to me, or he just borrows the slide from somebody and then he just changed it and sent to me, I will know. I say, okay, this is not it. This is not what I want. Okay. And when the person even eventually arrives and is not even well prepared for it, sometimes when you come late for training, you will be stressed because you should relax for about 30 minutes so that the physical stress can calm down. But when you don't have that, you will be put under serious tension, and that may not help you to be able to articulate and communicate with your audience. So what should you do? One of the things you need to do, as I said, is you have to practice. I recall that I use my children to practice. So I will sit in the front, I will be talking to them, I will be recording it, and almost every training I have, I record it. Even up to today, I will go back and listen to myself. Okay, it's back. I think, okay.
You can learn the thoughts, sir. You can learn the thoughts.
Back, sir.
Yeah, you can learn the thoughts. Then we'll take Madam Omoba, then we'll take Mr. Kwajefa, then we'll get back to him so that he can catch his breath. Learn your thought, Dr. Jegede.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. So I use my children to rehearse. They are the audience I'm training, so I'll be talking to them, whether they can listen or not, whether they can hear, but at least I have somebody in my front. So I use them as guinea pig. Sometimes you stand in front of a mirror. Sometimes I do voice notes. You will record it yourself, listen to yourself, ask you to listen to you, then ask them to give you feedback. They say, no, you are too fast. Like my wife will say, oh, you are too fast, calm down, you are too slow. Okay, you are not looking at the audience. Okay, you are looking at one direction. You should move. You could get so that you could gesticulate. You could use your hands. Sometimes you could use your leg. Sometimes you could use your face. Sometimes you could move a little bit. Sometimes you look above. Don't look directly in the eye so that you are not, you are not, a body again. So look over their head and move your eyes. Let your eyes move meanderly. Don't station your eyes in one particular direction. Move around, and then you throw in some few words to raise, participation and interaction. So when you raise some words, they chuckle, they laugh, and then it helps to show that, oh, these audience are with me and they are listening to me. And sometimes you just point at somebody just to create attention, so that in case somebody is sleeping or somebody is carried away, it enables you to also gain momentum of mastering the stage and mastering your presentation. So thank you, sir. Just to share a little. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Madam Omoba, let's have your contribution. Dr. Femi, just catch your breath, sir. Let's just quickly take this comment. Yeah.
No problem. It's very, very good. It's good.
Thank you very much. Thank you, my brother, for doing a good job as always. Our own facilitator of all facilitators. Well done, sir. And thank you for everybody for all of your contributions. I happen to be a professional public speaker. I've been doing that for almost 30 years. I actually trained for it. I belong to the Toastmasters International. I'm a certified Toastmaster. And so I felt that it would be appropriate for me to also, share my own nuggets as being shared with others that are also in the same space. And I did put something on, on the platform to say that there's something we call the 6 Ps. In public speaking, and it's called proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. It does not matter how much you're trained. If you do not practice, if you do not, like Mr. Jegede has just said, put yourself in different spaces, look at yourself in the mirror, record yourself, let other people come and listen to you, and then be a subject matter expert. So if you have a subject matter that you need to, because there are 2 different kinds of presentation or public speaking. There's a public speaking that you're just like going there as a keynote speaker or something, and there's a presentation that is more directed towards the boardroom, the HR, the C-suite. So that's another set of presentation where you're reading through a slide. There are certain ways that you need to write and lay out your slides so that you can then go through them smoothly and engage everybody that is there. So you need to, in that wise, you must be a subject matter expert on whatever it is. You must research. You cannot be a public speaker and be lazy. You must know the type of audience that's coming. You must even feel, there are times we say you go and feel your stage. So if you know where you're going to do that presentation, you can go there a day before. Just feel that stage. Breathe in the air there. Look at where things are going to be positioned. Where's your microphone going to be? Where is that going to be? Where am I going to stand? Who are the people that are working with me? Because when you have all of this information, it builds your confidence. When it's time for you to speak, it builds your confidence. And even when, there's something that we call failing forward or falling forward. So even when you make a mistake, you pick yourself up because you have the confidence within you to know that you can carry on. You can carry on. So you fail forward. You don't fail or fall backwards. Also, it is very important that you know how to direct your fears. In public speaking, we call them, we say you have butterflies in your stomach, but you must allow those butterflies to fly out in formation. So they must fly out in formation. So when we say fly out in formation, it means that you are directing those fears in such a way that you are the only one who knows that you are a bit jittery, because you are helping the butterflies to fly out in good formation. They're not flying out anyhow, all over the place. You are helping yourself. So sometimes it's breathing exercise, like they've said, sometimes it's about, going through the things that you want to talk about, and you've gone through them for ever so often, over and over and over again, that it's almost become second nature to you. And never, ever feel that you're second guessing yourself. I'm not doing well enough. The more you feel you're not doing well enough, you are ghosting yourself. So the more the confidence dwindles within you. So when you go there, we often have a joke that we say, if you cannot dazzle them with your intelligence, baffle them with your bullshit. Sometimes you're giving them bullshit, but you know what? You are saying it with so much confidence that people will start clapping for you. And then they'll ask themselves, what was she saying? What was she saying? But they question themselves and they try to go over what you have told them. But at the time you're saying it, they're taking it in. They're clapping for you. They're applauding you. So, fears will always be there, but we always call it, it's false evidence appearing real. That's fair. It's false evidence appearing real, if you use it as an acronym. So you shouldn't be afraid. Just equip yourself with the things that you can use to conquer your fear. And everybody will be different. So you must know what creates your own fear for you. If you don't identify what would mean, or it be, can mean fear for you, you might not be able to conquer that fear. Some people, it's stage fright. Some people, it's just the crowd. Some people, is the fear of not knowing what they want to say when they get there. Some people, it's them, doubting themselves. So you must know, what stage are you? If it's about stage, go to the stage, talk to the stage, shout there, do all sorts of things there. Get people, talk to them, let them give you feedback. If it's about the crowd, somebody, Mr. Jegede said it, there's a way that you're looking at the crowd, but you're not looking at them. You're looking at their temples. So nobody's connecting with you, and you are focused on what you need to deliver. There's so many other things, but I don't think it would be a bad idea for people to actually join speaking clubs. You can Google, there are so many speaking clubs. You can join the speaking clubs so that it can also help you, to hone in on your speaking. And then also, please remember, there are different platforms for speaking. The way you're going to speak as a keynote speaker at an event is different from the way you're going to speak in a boardroom. It's different from the way you're going to speak to your staff. It's different from the way you're going to. So you must identify the different emotions, the different emotional intelligence that goes with the different platforms that you're going to use to speak. Let me rest here so that I don't take over from the facilitator, from the presenter. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Femi, just indulge us. Let's take the final contribution for this segment. Oga Kwajafao, you have the floor, sir. Quickly, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Adeosun.
Yes, sir.
And once again, congratulations on your election. You see, people take cracking jokes as if it's just one of those things. It's not as easy as you might think. So for you to have a stage fright or lack of confidence or handshaking and lack of preparation, definitely such a person cannot be thinking of cracking jokes. Because if you don't hold your stage very well, you may not be able to crack the joke. And jokes differ according to audience. Some people may be doing direct translation. So if they are doing direct translation from another ethnic group or whatever, it might not fly in that audience. So you have to check what kind of jokes you want to crack so that you can enrich your lecture. So instead of enriching your lecture, it might destroy your lecture if you are not careful. So if you cannot crack a joke, just go straight to your lecture and concentrate on what you want to say so that you don't mess up what you are trying to do. So, I mean, when we are recommending cracking jokes to people who are just maybe learners or just coming for the first time or inexperienced public speakers, so we might have to know how we coach them to be able to crack jokes. Because once you are not articulate and you're not able to hold your stage pride and be able to speak very well, I mean, you must remove the issue of cracking jokes out of it. This is just my contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was very apt. If you are using jokes, make sure it is appropriate culturally, religiously,
yes.
The setting and context. Thank you so much for that contribution. Over to you, Dr. Musaku Johnson.
Thank you so much. And I want to appreciate all the contributors. It's been very, very enthralling. Thank you so much. So mental methods to overcoming stage fright is the next one. How do we overcome stage fright? The first thing is to visualize success like a pro. Visualize yourself, build up your confidence within yourself. And even when you are not a professional speaker, make yourself to be one. Employ yourself to be one. Then the audience, because the audience wants you to succeed. And that's what we have seen. Every audience wants the speaker to succeed. It is now left for the speaker to decide if he is going to succeed or not. It's a matter of choice. If he chooses to succeed, it is now left for him. So put all this together and you be a successful speaker. So consider your audience. What is their needs? What is their attitudes? Like Mr. Kwajeva was saying, that you have to look at your audience. Some jokes in one part may be obnoxious in another part. So you have to look at the kind of joke you are bringing in and so on. So look at the attitudes of your, or then look at their belief system, look at their faith, look at their religion. So all these are very, very, look at their value system. All right, what people value in one part is different from what they value in another part, accepting that integrity, honesty is common to everywhere. That's common. Apart from that, there are other values that people hold dear to them. So look at the values of your audience and other characteristics too. Then determine your purpose. What is your purpose? To inform. That's basically when you are making your presentation, if it is teaching, if it is lecturing, if it is making presentation in the boardroom, making presentation to your audience, crowd, and so it's to basically inform them, teach, define, illustrate, and clarify. That is what it is basically. That's what you are trying to do. That's your purpose. Your purpose is basically you are trying to inform. So it is very, very important. And you are also trying to persuade people. In some cases, you are trying to entertain them. So therefore, you need to organize your speech. How do you organize your speech? What is your central idea? What is the thing that you really want to project? What are you really want to drive at? It is what you want to project is change. If it is moving from one point of development, if it is development, that is your central idea, project it. What is your central idea? It is very, very important. It can be child development, cognitive intelligence. So you have to look at what is your central idea. Your introduction matters a lot. If your introduction is hogwash, that may mean that everything that you say subsequently will be washed away. So what is the body of your message? What is the body of your speech? What is the body of your presentation? Then your conclusion, outlining in some cases you need to maybe refer to those people that you get ideas from and so on. So introduction, body, and conclusion is very, very important. Then ethical speaking guidelines. What are the ethical issues when you are speaking to your public? Develop a clear, responsible goal. GOAL is very, very key. What is the goal? Why are you here? Why are you standing there? What is the goal of your standing there? My goal of standing there is to make HR people to be a better speaker in the public. That's my goal here. That's my goal. And I have to look at it. Use sound evidence and reasoning. Demonstrate sensitivity. And that is what Mr. Kwajeva is trying to say, and so on. Be sensitive to other people, be sensitive to their values, be sensitive to their belief system, and so on, their tolerance, and so on. You have to look at it, and also you also must understand that we are equal, but we are different. So you have to do that. Then you have to look at the fact that you need to speak honestly. So maybe they put so much lies together. They bring a lot of statistics that are basically lies, terrible lies, and so on, and they bring it to the fore as if they are saying the truth, and so on. And when they fact check it, they found out that it's a lie. And so speak honestly. Avoid plagiarism in your presentation. Look at some of those issues. Very, very important. Follow the guidelines for ethical listening itself. Ethical listening, communicate your expectation. Let there be feedback. Feedback is very, very important. When you speak, let people, what do they think about what you have said? Let there be feedback. You can give it as a survey, as evaluation form. Be sensitive to and tolerant of differences, because certainly there'll be differences. People are different. Even let me say this, Lagos State alone have 8 different dialects. They are, in fact, in Badagry area alone, there are 4 different languages. They don't hear one another. Not to talk of Adama, not to talk of Okigwe, and so on. So you have to understand that there are differences. There are differences, and so you have to look at it. Listen critically. Even when you are speaking, listen critically. Hold the speaker to his or ethical responsibility. It is very, very important. 3 types of plagiarism comes into it. Global, stealing an entire message, claiming it as his own. Patchwork, taking ideas from 2 or 3 sources and not crediting the sources. Incremental, failing to give credit for particular parts of messages, quotation, paraphrases, statistics, and so on. So all these are very, very critical. When you are speaking in the public, you have to avoid some of these issues. Then build your confidence. I say we are going to talk about this, and so in brevity, you must daily improve your confidence. Confidence is very, very critical. Go and deliberately improve your confidence. Go to gather people together and begin to speak to them. There was a time I spoke on TV, and the Senate and the House, they said this, Mahama recording that they said that me have been citing public against the people. I was telling you, I said, look, if you say I should not come to your station again, I can gather crowd anywhere and speak to them, and so if you want to improve your confidence also, you can speak to the crowd. You can sit down in a place and make people to come together and talk to them. You can even on the street, when you start to speak, people will listen to you. And even your organization also, you can also deliberately call for a meeting where you speak to people reasonably, sensibly, and so on. Then you are improving your confidence in that. So why are we nervous? We talked about it, and I think Omoba also talked about the issue of being nervous and so on, so why are we nervous? We talked about fear. And so on. Fear of being stared at is one of the issues. Fear of failure. Fear of, at the end of the day, will people say, I've actually achieved my goal? I've said things that basically influences them. Then fear of rejection. Fear of outright rejection. These are the reasons for being nervous. Fear of the unknown. That's another fear. Fear of catastrophe, fear of the unknown. You don't even know what to happen. People ask you to come and speak, and you don't know what is going to happen there. Fear of the unknown is a very, very terrible kind of fear, and you have it all over the place. What are the causes of apprehension when you go and speak? What are the causes? influences? What are the things that influences us? The way we speak, hereditary, our genetic makeup. You know, if you trace our genealogy, you see that you are speaking the same way and so on. So they are modeling. Who do we model ourselves after? When you are in the university, you see some professors, you see the way they speak, and you tell you, I want to speak like this professor with confidence, with candor, and so on. So you are modeling yourself with somebody, and essentially, I can see as we are growing up in this part of the world, maybe they are modeling themselves like Obafemi Awolowo. They want to speak like him, they want to dress like him, they want to be like him, and so on. Childhood reinforcement are the thing that reinforces us when we are growing up, matters a lot, and it will affect the way we speak later. Then expectancy learning. What are the kind of things that essentially we are learning on our own? And what are the things that is expected of us to have learned on our own? Then you have situational element like novelty, formality, status we have in life, status we attain in life will enable us to, if we become suddenly managing director of a place, you have a status that is different from being just a manager in that place. So when you speak, you are speaking differently. Unfamiliarity also is another element. When you are unfamiliar with the topic, you are unfamiliar with the people, it affects the way you talk, you affect the way people actually accept your presentation. Degree of attention from others matters. When you are speaking and you discover that people are just going all over the place, people are not even ready to listen to you, people are being distracted all over the place. These are some of the causes of apprehension. Guidelines for controlling nervousness. Put fear into perspective. Accept some fear as normal. It's normal for human being, for any human being, excepting in some cases where we have been speaking all right for so many years. You know, fear just dissolves on its own. Fear just disappears. Everybody, every man, when you are starting, there will be one fear or the other. But as you are speaking from one place to the other, dealing with one audiences or the other, fear just evaporates on their own. And analyze the cause of your own fear. I think she says so that analyze the cause of your own particular fear. You build confidence with preparation and practice. It's very, very important that we talked about preparation, and this cannot be overemphasized. But the one that surprised me is the one that I told you that happened in my degree. And so I can't understand that somebody will practice throughout the night and the following day cannot be able to do anything. Then I found out that it is not about preparation a day before, it's preparation that is lifetime, that you have been reinforcing while you are even a child, and so on. So use positive self-suggestion to combat anxiety. What does that mean? Tell yourself that, okay, assuming I'm here now, what am I going to do? Assuming I'm here, assuming I'm called upon to speak here, how am I going to address the crowd? How am I going to face the crowd? So build your confidence, know your audience, prepared, select appropriate topic, recreate the environment, no introduction and conclusion. It's very, very important. Your introduction matters. How you introduce matters. And by the time your introduction is onward, you have lost the people. So introduction goes a long way. Visualize success. See yourself as a pro. See yourself as a great speech maker. Use deep breathing. Focus on your message. Focus on your message. So it has been advised that, okay, you can bring comedy, you can bring drama and some of those things, but if you cannot handle your drama, if your joke is such a dry one, you are going to lose your audience. So mental pep talk is very important. Channel your energy to what really matters. Seek opportunities at times. Then talk yourself into great speech. Let me say, talk yourself, mental preparation, in fact, matters most. Talk yourself into being a great speaker. Tell yourself that I can do it. I can face any audience. I can do it. Then practice makes perfect. We've talked about that. Rehearse out loud. Does it always work? That was the question I was asking from my experience, from on the job experience, from all that I've been to. Practice is good. Rehearsal is good, but you must be able to build yourself into all this. And this thing cannot start as an adult. It has to start while you are growing up. You must start to build yourself. This is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do this. So how do you do it? I think Dr. was talking about how we are going to put ourselves before our audience. So I said, stand with feet shoulder wide apart, release and relax your shoulders. Place your hands on your stomach. Breathe in through your nose to the count of 4. Breathe out through your mouth to the count of 4. Do this 4 times. Then start with your program. So it has also do's and don'ts. Do what are the do's? Always repeat audience questions. All right, ask questions, make opportunity for the audience to participate, give audiences something to walk away with, respect their time. Don't make excuses. Don't read your slides point by point, apart from when you have the point to talk about. Defer answering question, and also don't overload your slides. Don't defer answering question. When there is a question, attend to it immediately. Then don't overload your slide. Don't let the slide be like the judgment paper. No, don't overload your slide. So as I'm rounding up, what is the expert? What do they do? What do they do? What do the experts do? What do they are working on their paper? Dress to impress. Dress to impress. Visit the space before presenting. I think Omobas talked about visit the space before a presentation. Make noise, shout there, and so on. Know your material. If you don't know, you cannot flow. Then the content, there are 6 C's to consider: clear, concise, concrete, and other ones that is practice. It's practice. Run through your presentation on your own. Pay attention to your voice. I think we've said that. Your tone, your inflection, your volume, your speed. If you are too fast, it will be something too high for the audience to catch up with you. If you are too slow, it will not help the presentation. And your pauses, look at them. Your filler words, I think, no. They don't basically work for presentation. I think we have to work on this more than any other thing. All this, no. Then areas of difficulty in your presentation, you have to look at it and get feedback. It is very, very important. And also prepare for the unexpected. No internet, you have to prepare. Like using one internet tonight, it just cut off. I don't know. I had to switch to another one. So you have to prepare for all these things. Loss of power, cell phone will ring. I have to off my phone. I had late entrance, different sizes than expected. You're expecting 20,000 people, but 40,000 are in that hall. What are you going to do? So these are the issues. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the end of my presentation tonight, and it is now over to the Coordinator General to take charge and to take over question issues that arises out of this presentation. Thank you very much. I'm so to be among you today. Thank you.
Wow. This is excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Femi Musaku-Johnson. Great session, great presentation. Thank you so much. This is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, please, in the chat, please show some reflection, appreciation. Let Doctor know how you have contributed, how he has impacted you this evening. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep it coming. We are trying to manage time. I think we should be out of here in 5 minutes or less. So if you have any additional contribution, please, if you raise your hands, we'll quickly ask you, yes, or question. We'll give you and enable you to unmute quickly and share. All right, let's see. Do we have any hands up? Fastest fingers right now. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone who would like to, okay, we see Blessing. Please. Blessing, you can unmute now.
Okay, thank you, sir. Please, I want to ask, when one must have follow all the advice on preparation and other things, and then you now get on stage and find out that you are nervous. What can you do? What are the tips? How can you overcome that while presenting?
Yes, when you discover that you get to the stage and you are nervous, it's a very critical thing. I've told that it happens to everybody in the world at initial stage of your presentation. But as time goes on, it just evaporates on its own. Now you get there and you see that you start to get nervous. Just throw one joke that you know about. Tell the story of your primary school. Did that your teacher in primary 4? Tell the story of that teacher. Then from there, you now go back to where you are going. That story must relate to what you want to discuss. Look at the story around your life that you know very well that you want to talk about. Like me now, if I want to bring out any story, I tell the story of my teacher in primary 6, number 24 Broad Street was my primary school. He did something that if I still get all our mates together, that we did primary 6 together over 50 years ago, if I still get them together, we are still going to arrest him and so on. So from there, you bring that because you are used to that story very well. Then you now go to where you are going. You would have forgotten nervousness. You have to go into one area that you know, that you are familiar with. Then you now see that your nervousness will subside. Then you now go to where you are going. Am I okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We can take one more question or contribution. It's like people are not raising their hands. Is your virtual hand, not your physical hand, please. I hope that will pass as a joke. Okay, I think this has been time well spent. Doctor, on behalf of everybody that joined this session tonight, we'd like to thank you. And everybody who will still watch the recorded session, we also like to thank you. Similarly, we'd like to thank everybody who joined this session tonight. Thank you so much for your contribution, for your patience. Also, we'd like to specially thank people that contributed. Madam Omoba, thank you. God bless you, ma'am. She's a retired PAMSEC in Lagos. And also, I'm happy to note that she's a Toastmaster. Me too, ma. I'm a Toastmaster, a DTM for that matter, ma. If you don't get it, forget about it. Thank you so much, ma, for sharing and filling the gap for us very timely. I also like to thank Dr. Dotun Jegede, and very soon will be gracing us with his presence and sharing his knowledge with us. We finally caught up one-on-one yesterday, to the glory of God. I also like to thank my brother. Okay, I'd like to thank Mr. Ama Kwajafa. Thank you also for your intervention. Thank you so much, my brother Chizom Albert. Thank you so much for your contribution, and all the other ladies, that shared their thoughts and comments, and everyone participated very actively in the Zoom chat. Again, we'll bring Dr. Femi Mosaku Johnson. We'll bring him back very soon. Thank you so much. Please, let's have a productive week. Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. Good night.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Yes. We can unmute now and thank Dr. Femi. I've enabled everybody to unmute.
Thank you, sir. Very insightful.
Thank you,
sir. Great session. Very great.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Jason.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate your.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The session was really insightful.
Yes. Thank you.